My father kicked me out of the house the day I turned 18. No party, no cake, no happy birthday, son. Just a garbage bag thrown at my feet and a finger pointed at the front door. And for 20 years, I believed he hated me. But the truth? The truth was so much darker than that. And if I had known it earlier, it might have changed my entire life. Growing up, my dad, Robert, wasn't a perfect man, but he was my man. He taught me how to throw a baseball in the backyard during long summer evenings. He sat next to me at the kitchen table when I struggled with math homework and never once made me feel stupid. Every Friday night, without fail, we watched old Western movies together while my mom made popcorn in the kitchen. We weren't rich. We lived in a small town in Ohio, the kind of place where everyone knows your name, your car, and most of your business. My dad worked at the same parts factory for 22 years. My mom worked part-time at the school library. It wasn't glamorous, but it was warm. It was home. And for most of my childhood, it felt safe. Until about 6 months before my 18th birthday. That's when things started to change. At first, it was small things. My dad started coming home later than usual. Dinner conversations became shorter. He stopped watching movies with me. Sometimes I would catch him looking at me in a strange way. Not angry, not exactly. More like worried. Like he knew something I didn't, and that something scared him. At the time, I thought I had done something wrong. I replayed every mistake I could think of. Bad grades, missed curfews, stupid teenage decisions. None of it explained the way he was acting. Then my birthday came. It was a Tuesday in March. Cold, gray sky. The kind of day that already feels like something bad is about to happen. I came downstairs that morning and found my dad sitting at the kitchen table. No coffee, no newspaper, just sitting there in the dark. His hands were flat on the table. I said, "Hey, Dad." He didn't answer right away. When he finally looked up at me, his eyes were red. Not like he had been crying, more like he hadn't slept in days. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. "Pack your things, Daniel. You need to leave today." I laughed. I actually laughed because I thought he was joking. He wasn't. He stood up slowly and pointed toward the counter. That's when I saw the garbage bag, already open, waiting. He had planned this. I begged him to explain. I grabbed his arm and asked what I had done. I told him I loved him. I told him I didn't understand. But he wouldn't look at me. And then he said something I would repeat in my head for the next 20 years. "I can't explain this right now, but you have to trust me, and you have to go. Don't call this house. Don't come back. Not yet. Not yet." Those 2 words kept me alive for a long time. They meant maybe someday. They meant this wasn't forever. But someday never came, and eventually, I stopped waiting. The first few months were rough. I slept on couches, stayed with a friend named Marcus, whose parents were kind enough not to ask too many questions. I got a job washing dishes at a diner. Eventually, I enrolled in community college. Life slowly moved forward. But the question never left. Why did my father send me away? By my late 20s, I had an apartment in Pittsburgh, a steady job in logistics, a girlfriend named Sarah who eventually became my wife. We had a daughter. We named her Claire. And still, there was always a hole inside me, an unanswered question that followed me everywhere. Then last spring, everything changed. My mom passed away. She had been sick for a while. I flew back to Ohio for the funeral. It was the first time I had returned to that town in almost 15 years. But that wasn't the part that shocked me the most. Because when I asked about my father, I learned he had died 3 years earlier. A heart attack. Alone in the house. I never even knew. Standing at my mother's grave, something inside my chest cracked open. Both of my parents were gone, and the question I had carried since I was 18 was still unanswered. Or at least, that's what I thought. After the funeral, the lawyer handling my mother's estate handed me a small cardboard box. My name was written on top, in my father's handwriting. I didn't open it right away. I drove to a quiet parking lot and sat in my rental car, staring at it for almost 10 minutes. Something about that box made my hands feel cold, like I already knew the answers inside were going to change everything. Inside the box were 3 things: a letter, a stack of photographs, and an old police report. I read the letter first. My father's handwriting looked rushed and uneven. The date at the top was 2 days before he kicked me out. It started with, "Daniel, if you're reading this, then I'm gone. And I'm sorry I couldn't say this to your face." But what I discovered next made my hands shake. The photographs were of my uncle, Gary, my father's younger brother. And suddenly, memories I hadn't thought about in years started rushing back. Gary had always made me uncomfortable. Loud, unpredictable, the kind of man who stayed too close when he talked. And my dad had always seemed tense when Gary visited. Now I knew why. The police report was from 1987. It described an investigation into Gary for the violent assault of a 17-year-old boy in the next county. The case had collapsed. Witnesses backed out. Gary walked free. But according to my father's letter, Gary had never changed. 2 days before my 18th birthday, Gary came to my dad with an offer. He said he had been watching me grow up. He said he wanted to invest in my future. Those were his exact words, and my father knew exactly what Gary meant. So my dad confronted him, and Gary threatened him. He told my father that if he went to the police, he would destroy our family. And worse, he promised that if I stayed in that house, he would find a way to get close to me. My father believed him. So he did the only thing he could think of to protect me. He sent me away. He cut off contact so Gary would forget about me. He sacrificed our relationship to make me disappear, to make me invisible. I sat in that parking lot for a long time, thinking about all the years I spent angry, all the holidays I pretended I didn't care, all the times I told people my father abandoned me. But the truth was the opposite. He didn't abandon me. He protected me. And he did it in the most painful way possible, by making sure I believed he hated me. For 20 years, I called it abandonment, but now I know what it really was. It was armor.